Guilty or not guilty? Guilty, of course. This is Cindy Golbert, Original Sin. And if you're human, at one point or another in your life, you did something or said something that you feel badly about, that you feel guilty about, you feel ashamed of. And unless you're a sociopath or a psychopath, you feel that guilt and it weighs on you. And sometimes the guilt builds up and it can be really detrimental to your health. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to lessen that load, that feeling that you have this weight on your shoulders, that every time you think about it, it makes you feel bad. Number one, if it's something that you have said or done, and the person to which you said or did that is alive and well, and you have the opportunity, you have the opportunity to contact them and make amends, do so. If the person is not available, then you can do what we call empty chair work. You sit down, like I am, you put an empty chair in front of you, and you speak to that person, and you say, I am so sorry for what I did. I have no excuse. I was out of line or whatever, and I just want to say I'm sorry. Once you've done either of the two things, or you can also, if you don't want to do empty chair, you could write a letter and not send it. But the thing is just to get it out, express how you feel, how badly you feel. Now, once you have done that, and sometimes the person will forgive you, and sometimes perhaps they won't. Definitely if they're passed on or they're unavailable, they can't forgive you. But the most important forgiveness is the one you forgive yourself. And unless you get to the point where you can forgive yourself for whatever it was that you did or said or didn't do or didn't say, you're going to carry that guilt with you for a long time. And if you keep carrying that guilt, number one, you keep living in the past. And as I spoke before in one of my videos about staying in the present, guilt will keep you anchored to the past, and you will be unable to live your life to the fullest. So identify where the guilt comes from, try to make it right, and above all, forgive yourself for whatever it was you did or said. Also remember that however we acted in the past, and even if it was last week, although it doesn't really fit, the explanation doesn't fit that well if it was recent, but still, we act and we say things with the knowledge that we have at the time. I mean, I can look back and be guilty about not reading to my children more often. But at that time, I mean, when I had my kids, it was Dr. Spock. That was the only thing that was around. All my pictures of me pregnant, I have a cigarette in one hand and a drink in the other hand. I mean, you know, and they turned out quasi-normal. But what I'm saying is we make decisions based on what we know at the time. And it's very unfair to ourselves to go back with all the knowledge and experience we have now and say, wow, you really should have done this, you should have done that, you know, this was wrong. No, at that point in time, we acted on what we knew to our best capabilities. So cut yourself some slack, forgive yourself for all the things that you think you did and some of the things that you probably did, and just say, yes, I was guilty, but I've forgiven myself, and I'm not going to carry that guilt around anymore. So this is Cindy Golbert, Original Sin, giving you a guilty, but you know, the verdict is still, it's going to be okay. Be safe, and above all, be grateful.